Okay, here we go. So, this is a video on how to solve battleships. And as you can see below here, you've got the fleet. This is what you have to look for. It's the same in every puzzle. It's always the same number of ships. You've got a battleship of taking up 4 squares, 2 cruisers of 3 each, 3 destroyers of 2 squares each, and 4 submarines just taking up 1 square. And it explains the rules under here. You've got to find where the fleet of ships is hidden in the grid. The numbers to the right and below the grid show how many squares in that row are filled with ships or parts of ships. So, as you can see here, these numbers, you basically have to cross-reference them and work out, by process of elimination, what squares must contain a ship or part of a ship and which ones cannot contain any. Also, very important rule is that no battleship must touch another battleship, even diagonally. So, so the thing to do is when you see a battleship, is you blank off all the surrounding squares, because no ships can touch another ship, not even diagonally. So that goes all around, and we can do the same for this one here. And this is the end of a ship, and we don't know what type of ship that is, except that it must contain 3 spaces. So this could be a 2 square one, it could be a destroyer, and there could be a submarine or part of another ship along this line. Or this 3 could mean that it's a cruiser, but we don't know. But we do know that this square at least must be taken up. So we can blank off the squares around the end of this ship, this diagonal 1, 2, also here and here, and also here and here, because this is diagonally from there. So even if that was a destroyer, this one couldn't be taken up. And the same reason we can blank off the squares around the end of this ship, and in this case we do know that this is a destroyer because there's not enough space for it to be anything else. So we can fill that in like that, and we can tick it off as one destroyer gone, and we can also tick off these 2 submarines because we've already found them. Now, another easy thing to do is to see where the rows or columns have got a 0 in them, because that means that there aren't any spaces which are taken up by a ship or part of a ship. So we can eliminate them, as we can also do for this column. And okay, here we can see that this row has got a 1 in it, and that 1 is taken up here. So we can blank off the others. And what else? Okay, oh yeah. Here, this one is totally filled, so it's not the end of any ship, and we know that none of these are taken up, so we can therefore do the same, because we know that this one can't be part of it, because it would have to be a destroyer to fit in there. And this is clearly not the end of a ship, like here, for example, this square. So we know that this square and this square must be taken up, and therefore we can blank out these squares. So we know that this is at least a destroyer, but possibly a battleship, because after all, this is a 4. In fact, we know that this must be the battleship, because the only other 4 is this one, but one of those is taken up, so there's not enough space for there to be a 4 in there, a battleship in there. So this one must be battleship, but we don't know whether it's going to be this square or this square. That's going to be the end of the battleship, but we know that that one can't be, neither can those ones. So by knowing that this one is a square, that accounts for this 1 here, so we can blank off the other squares in that row. And what else can we do? Okay, so we know that that is the battleship in there, and we're looking for 2 cruisers of 3 squares each. So by process of elimination, we know that it can't be this one, because one of those is already taken, so they can't fit a 3, and it can't be this one because there's already 2 squares are used up there, and it can't be this one because that one is taken up. So therefore it could only be this one or this one. It can't be this one because that one is taken up. So it must be in there somewhere. And so therefore it can't be these 2 because there's not enough space. So it must be, the 3 must be contained in here. So we know that these 2 must be taken up, but we don't know whether it's going to be this one or this one. Also, we know that this must be the end of part of that ship because this one is blanked out, so we can fill that in, and that means we have found another destroyer, so we can check that off there, and we know that that's got a 3, so now we have found all the necessary parts of this row that's accounted for. So that means that that is blanked off and that is blanked off. And that therefore means that if that one can't be part of a ship, then this one must be the final, the end of that battleship. So we've found the battleship now. So we can mark that off and just do that. So we found the battleship. We've found all that, and okay, and that accounts for the 2 in that column. So we can, of course, well, we should have blanked that off already because it can't be touching. And if this square is taken, then this one can't be part of a battleship because it's diagonal. Okay, now what else can we do? Okay, so we're looking for 2 cruisers of 3, taking up 3 squares each. And so we know that one of them is this one here, and the other one must therefore be in this row, because as we've seen, the other ones, they've already got squares taken up, so there's not enough room for them. So it must be one of the other cruiser must be in here. So that means that these must be filled, and one of these must be filled. So that means that this one is definitely not filled. And we know that the end of that is taken up, so that can't be filled because that's diagonal to the battleship. Okay. So, what else are we looking for? Oh yeah, so we got the 2 there, so we can blank off those, which means that this one must be taken up to complete the 2 here, because we've already got one filled there, and oh yeah, so if this one is taken up, then this one can't be taken up because that's diagonal to it. And that means that this one here, the only available space for that is here, so that must be one of the submarines. So we can fill that in, which means that that one is not taken up. That means that this one must be filled to make up the 2. So that means we found the other cruiser. That completes the 3. And we can cross that one off. So let's just do that. And then 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we found all the 3 there. And was that Alina crying? I don't know if that is her crying. Ah, this one's a 2, so that means that's filled, and that means we found the destroyer. And so that means that accounts for the 3 there, so that means that cannot be taken, and that can't be part of it. So that means this one therefore must be, oh, that is it. I think that is Alina crying. Damn. Okay, I've almost finished it. Okay, so 3. Okay, so that means that must be a submarine. And then that's it. We found them all. Okay. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, we found them all. That's how you play Battleships. Okay, gotta go. Bye.